The most insane twist ever possible. The case of J.B. Beasley. Case number 1. On July 30th, 1999, Tracie and J.B. Beasley had left for a party close to Midland City and Headland. When Tracie and J.B. got lost in Ozark, she contacted her folks to let them know they were on their way home. They vanished without a trace before ever getting there. The girls were executed by being shot once in the head, after which point they were placed in a vehicle trunk and abandoned on Herring Avenue in Ozark, Alabama. The two girls departed Dothan, their hometown, in Beasley's 1993 black Mazda 929 at about 10:05 that evening. The girls had decided to go to a field party in JB's honor at Headland, which is about 10 miles north of Dothan, for her 17th birthday. The girls failed to show up to the party. The two appeared just after 11:30 p.m. at the Big Little convenience store and Chevron station at 763 East Broad Street in Ozark, which is more than 20 miles northwest of Dothan. The girls ran into Marilyn Merritt and her daughter, who had stopped to buy a beverage after the store closed at 11 p.m. The girls requested instructions to U.S. Highway 231 so they could go 20 miles southwest to Dothan, and they received them. Later, Miss Merritt and her daughter reported to police that everything appeared to be in order. The girls were clean, and Beasley's automobile was pristine. Later, Tracie's mother, Carol Roberts, remarked Tracie's voice was perfect. "Mom, I love you," she said. "I'll be home shortly." Miss Merritt and her daughter observed the girls leaving the parking area and making the right turn into the highway. It was the last time anyone saw them alive, save their murderer. The black Mazda 929 was discovered by Ozark police officers on Herring Avenue, less than a mile from the payphone Tracie Howlett had used the previous evening at around the same time that J.B. and Tracie were reported missing at 8 o'clock. The police officers said that when the car was first discovered, there were no overt indications of criminal activity. The reasons the girls stopped is still a mystery. According to the police, and the fact that there is no damage to the car suggests that they were not pushed off the road. Despite being filled up the day before, the car was dirty and nearly out of gas, but it was undamaged. The doors were unlocked and the driver's side window was slightly down. The girls' purses were in the car, and JB's driver's license was on the dashboard. The car keys, however, were not there. After many hours had passed with no trace of the girls, Dothan police dispatched an investigator with the intention of towing the car back to Dothan. The Dothan investigator realized he could open the trunk with an internal lever and did not require the keys as authorities waited for a tow truck. When he opened the trunk, J.B. Beasley and Tracie Howlett were inside, both dead from a single 9mm wound to the head 6 hours after the car was discovered. However, Tracie had a single gunshot wound to the head, a cut on her arm, and briar thorns on her trousers. The girls were dressed and there was no evidence of a struggle. She had bought a new pair of balanced sneakers last week for $95 and they were caked in muck. She had been put into the trunk first, judging by how the remains were arranged. On her leg, a 9mm shell casing was discovered. She was obviously dirty, with mud on her shoes, and JB had been shot in the cheek. Below the knees, the girls' trousers were soaked. When it was first established that not only were the girls' handbags inside the car, but also their jewelry, cash, and credit cards, robbery was soon ruled out as a possible explanation. JB's keychain, which included her car and other keys, was the sole thing that was reportedly missing. According to the description, it had white blocks with black letters that said "hard to get." Both girls' innocence was established by autopsies, which also revealed no signs of drug or alcohol use. But more than 2 months later, the state crime lab revealed in a report that JB's bra, knickers, and skin had semen traces on them. The semen may eventually point to a culprit according to the authorities. In addition, the trunk's lid had an unidentified palm print on it. The girls had not been murdered where the car was parked on Herring Avenue, according to the authorities. DA for Dale and Geneva Counties David Emery stated, "You have to assume it's a sex offense or at least came out of a sex offense. I believe we would have the murderer if we could identify the donor of the semen." If you are looking for an alibi, shoot the subscribe button. On the evening of July 31st, 1999 at 11:30, Johnny William Barentine, a 28-year-old part-time mechanic, informed his young wife that he was going out to purchase milk for the couple's 2-year-old child. Tracie Howlett was also on the phone with her mother from the Big Little Store payphone at the same time. Barentine didn't get back home until just before 1 in the morning, and when he arrived, his wife claims he was extremely agitated. When questioned, he stated that a black truck with a Dothan tag near Herring Avenue hit my car. Barentine would later admit to others that he knew something about the deaths of the 2 teenagers found at Herring Avenue in the days that followed. Aileen Murphy's boyfriend Leon Jordan pushed Barentine to approach the authorities and claim the prize for the bounty. He just said he thought he might know who did it, recalled Murphy. Barentine finally heeded the advice, and precisely 1 month after JB and Tracie's corpses were discovered on September 1st, he met with police for a 4-hour recorded interrogation. During that investigation, he told 6 different scenarios, and in some of them claimed to have been there when the murder was committed. Barentine first claimed that he had seen a black truck drive away from the location where the girls were found on the night of their death. Barentine claimed the man he'd given a ride to urged him to follow after the 2 females, whom he named the dead girls. The man allegedly took the girls out of the car and brought them to Herring Avenue. The man returned after gunshots could be heard, and Barentine offered him a lift home after dropping him off at the scene. Alarmingly, Barentine resided a mere 8 miles from the scene of the girls' murder. On the spot, police detained Barentine and charged him with 2 charges of capital murder, designating him the main suspect. The neighbor he accused had a valid excuse for the evening. The DNA from the semen did not match that of Barentine or the neighbor, and he never indicated sexual activity that would explain for the semen discovery on JB's body and clothing. Even while testing failed to link the Michigan man's DNA to that found on JB's clothing, Spivey still considered him a very viable candidate since he was at a party close to where the car was discovered the night of the killings. He said the detectives had made 3 trips to Michigan to speak with him. The man then made suspicious comments to individuals and is unable to account for 3 to 4 hours of the evening where the 2 girls were murdered. Spivey did not go into details as to what he meant by suspicious. There was no record of a credit or debit card being used to pay for petrol at the pump during that time, and the store had already closed. Nobody is seen exiting the vehicle in the footage, and the driver is never clearly visible. 1 month into the inquiry, no one has come forward despite releasing a picture of the truck to the media. Both the vehicle and its driver appear to have vanished. That could be the key, Spivey said. An Alabama man, age 49, was found guilty of capital murder for the savage 1999 killings of 2 high school seniors. A jury found Coley McCraney guilty of 4 counts of capital murder in the deaths of Tracie Howlett and J.B. Beasley. Coley McCraney had led a life free of crime and had started a family in the 20 years after the killings. That's it, folks. We have come to the end of today's video. Do you think you could have solved the case of the missing girls? If yes, comment down below. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to check out our channel for more crime-related content.